Hi, my name is Bibek Adhikari. I am your English instructor. In today's class, we are going to study about the writing portion of Unit 16, that is, how to write an informative essay. So let's begin. Alright, we are now going to learn about how to write an essay. While writing an essay, we need to keep in mind that there are three distinct stages of writing, namely pre-writing, while writing, and post-writing phases. Each writing has its own significance in the writing process. So the writing process can be viewed as a mixture of all these three, as a blend of all these three processes, to the pre-writing, while writing, and post-writing stages. Each stage is significant and their importance should not be forgotten. The first stage is called pre-writing. The second stage is called while writing, and the third stage is called post-writing. In the pre-writing section, what we do is we do things before the actual writing. So what can be the things that we actually do before writing? They can be things like brainstorming, which simply means gathering up the ideas. So it is all about mustering up, clustering the ideas and making a kind of mind mapping. So it's more like going to a library or maybe going online, Googling about, going to the Wikipedia and finding out the related information. So brainstorming is what we call the idea mapping or the mind mapping. So what we actually do in this phase is we find out several ideas, and they're very random, they're very jumbled, they are all scrambled, and we need to make a sense out of them. So that is what we do in the pre-writing phase. In the writing phase, what we do is we actually write the essay. What that means is we are actually writing the essay. Now this writing stage happens in the exam. In the exam we are writing. So this is while writing essay. And after you're done with the writing stage, we come to another stage of writing which is called post-writing. And in post-writing, what we normally do is we check for errors. Also, we, edit. Same thing as checking for errors. So we edit and check for errors. Two things that we do. We check for errors. Is there any kind of grammatical errors? If there is, we find out those grammatical errors and remove them. And we also try to find out, the coherence and the cohesion of the essay. How well are the sentences? So is everything all right? So we try to find out those basic things. And the most important thing is we question ourselves. Is the essay really making a sense? Yep. So that's it. We have three stages. The first one is called pre-writing. The second is called while writing. And the third is called post-writing. Each one of this section is important. And we are going to study about them one by one. Now, let us go to the first stage of writing, which is called pre-writing. In this section, what we do is we research the topic. We also analyze the well-written essays. And we also brainstorm our own ideas. So these are the three basic things that we do. We research about the topic, we analyze the well-written essays, and we brainstorm our own ideas. So how are we going to research the topic? For that, what we need to do is we need to go online. Just go to google.com or find Wikipedia and start searching. All we can do is we can head to the library, the nearest library. Go to the nearest library. Head to the library. There's another thing that we can do, which is search an academic database. And the last thing that we can do is called read newspapers. Read newspapers. So what you need to do while researching the topic. First, now you know that you are going to write an essay. Let's say the essay is about gender equality, or maybe the essay is about importance of English language. For that, you need to research the topic. Just go online, go to google.com or go to Wikipedia or WikiHow and just go online and start typing the subject. Or you can do another thing if you don't like going online. If you want to, get the feel of real written material, then you can go to the library and start browsing through different sections. Another thing is you can go to a university and find the academic database. And this seems a bit complex, lengthy process, but it is worth doing. And another thing that you can do every day is read newspapers. Read the Kathmandu Post, read the Himalayan Times, the Republica, Yukantipur, Nagrik, and all these newspapers, and find out, gather, cluster, and muster all those kind of informations that you need in future. Now, the second stage of pre-writing is called analyzing the well-written essays. Find out some of the well-written essays. It could be George Orwell, it could be, Ralph Ellison, it could be anyone. So just analyze the well-written essays. Find out the claims, the evidences, and the logic. What that means is you're going to find about the different kind of claims. What is the claim? What are the claims the writer is making? And what different kind of evidences is the writer presenting? So if it's an essay about elephants, and not forgetting a thing, so what different kind of scientific evidence are present in the essay? And find out the logic, how well the essay is, presented. Is the logic really good, or the essay is full illogical? Just find that. Find out three different things: claims, evidences, and logic. After that, we come to the third stage of pre-writing, which is brainstorming. Now, brainstorm your own ideas. Just list down everything. Make a list of ideas, and also follow mind mapping. There's a very nice book on mind mapping by Tony Buzan. You can follow that. What that means is you can, just make a mental map of everything, or you can even draw a tree diagram. Alright, do that. List and mind mapping thing. After that comes the writing section. Now let's go to the writing section. While writing, what you will do is you will pick up a thesis statement. After that, you will plan your essay, and finally you'll write the body of the essay. Now, what's a thesis statement? Many of the writing teachers, give stress on this thing called thesis statement. They're always saying give utmost focus to your thesis statement. Always plan your thesis statement, follow the rule of pyramid and everything. So there's so much going on about thesis statement. But what exactly is a thesis statement? A thesis statement is nothing but the main idea of the essay. So if you're writing an essay about gender equality, your thesis statement could be about the main idea of gender equality. So it is the main idea, and oftentimes it is the first sentence. After that, plan your essay. Think about paragraphs, think about the coherence, and think about the cohesion between the paragraphs. Think about ideas. Each paragraph should only contain a single idea, so think about those ideas. Whenever there's a change of idea, there should be a change of paragraph. So think about that. After that, write the body of the essay. In that section, you are going to write different paragraphs, and each paragraph should contain a single idea. All will you do is something else. You will be coming up with a compelling title and an introduction. After that, you will conclude your essay. What that means is you are now coming up with a compelling title and an equally compelling introduction. Finally, you would write the conclusion of your essay and you would conclude your essay. And coming up with the compelling, now this seems a bit absurd. Like, how can you come up with a title at the end of the essay? You may be thinking something like that, but most of the good titles, they come to your mind, they float across your mind at the end of the essay. What that means is you will have an eureka moment at the end. But for exams, you don't need to come up with the compelling titles because the titles would be given. Now, you would also write an introduction with that, correct? What that means is you would write the introduction, the first paragraph. Now, that sounds a bit absurd, but it is more like, freely given topics. In exams, you don't have a choice and you are given an introduction and guidelines and everything. Finally, conclude your essay. In the concluding part, what you would do is you'd restate the thesis statement, and you would rather paraphrase the thesis statement. What that means is you won't exactly repeat those sentences, but write those sentences in a different way. Alright, let's go to the last stage of writing, the post-writing. In the post-writing section, what you will do is you would edit the essay, and this editing is a tricky business. In this, you would check for errors, check for grammatical errors, check for coherence and cohesion, and check for ideas. What that means is you would be looking at all the grammatical errors and you would be eliminating them. If there's any grammatical error, was, were, comma, and all that, punctuation and all. So this also includes punctuation. Proper punctuation is a must for any kind of writer. So if you want to write better essays and proper essays, you must learn the subtle art of punctuation. Alright, after that, you need to check for coherence and cohesion. Are the essays, the sentences well connected? Do they make proper sense to you? And check for ideas. How many paragraphs did you write? If you wrote 5 paragraphs, there should be 5 main ideas, and inside that there would be sub-ideas. What that means is 5 main ideas, and inside that there would be sub-ideas. Now, are your paragraphs arranged like that? Just check it. Correct? Also learn the subtle art of punctuation. Now I'm going to show you a sample essay, and I'm going to demonstrate you how everything is done correctly. That means how pre-writing, while writing, and post-writing, these 3 distinct phases of writing combine to form one single, idea of writing. Now let's go to that. I'm going to demonstrate to you with an example. Now let's look at one sample essay. The title of the essay is Self-Publishing. What that means is you're going to publish your work by yourself. Let's begin by learning the essay, and I'll explain you about different topics accordingly. Every writer experiences that moment. She walks into the bookstore, looks at the nearest display of whatever book is the hot seller that week, and wonders, how can someone write that bad and get published, but I can't? The publishing industry is known for being hyper-competitive and almost as fickle as the field of fashion design. With thousands of talented unknown writers vying to get discovered, sometimes it seems like the answer to the question of who gets a publishing deal this week is as random and as risky as a game of Russian roulette. Writers seeking to take control of their careers and their lives need to reevaluate the typical publishing cycle and consider whether or not self-publishing is a viable option. Self-publishing is an accessible means of pursuing the business of authorship, allows a writer to exercise more control over her intellectual property, and gives a writer flexibility to promote her writing in a way that she finds acceptable and effective. Now this is the first paragraph. Can you find out the thesis statement? Of course, you must be able to find the thesis statement. Something like this, self-publishing is an accessible means of the business. So this seems to be the main idea. This seems to be the main idea of the essay, and it is given in the last sentence. So what that means is the thesis statement. The thesis is given in the last sentence, and everything is what we call the introduction. Rest of these things are introductions. It goes down to the last line, and the last line is the thesis statement. Let us continue reading this essay. The opportunities to self-publish a novel, novella, short story, article, or any other preferred format of writing have never been more prevalent. Self-publishing platforms such as Amazon, Lulu, Smashwords offer abundant options in a variety of mediums, from physical trade paperbacks to the ever-growing e-book sector. Writers can select from a wide variety of packages, including editing and proofreading services, cover design options, and formatting services. Multi-talented writers can even take on all of these lofty tasks themselves and just pay a nominal fee for offering their works through the plethora of online distributors. With big online retailers such as Amazon investing significant resources into offering self-publishing tools for budding authors, writers with a finished manuscript can find plenty of opportunities to create and stage their final products. Now, what is the thesis statement? Again, the last seems to be like the thesis statement. Rest seems like the idea. Did you notice that one paragraph contains one idea? One idea in a paragraph. So you have to keep that in mind, and also see how sentences are well connected and linked to each other. You should try to write something, something as good as this one. Naysayers claim that those who self-publish should be aware releasing a book that hasn't received the blessing of big publishing houses, because once something is published, it can never be unpublished. The collective response from those familiar with intellectual property rights has been a resounding, "So what?" Writers who self-publish have a distinct advantage over those who sign contracts. Self-publishers retain the intellectual property rights for their work, which means they can keep their work or sell it wherever they want. Traditionally published authors simply can't. The publishing house gets all of the rights, while the author only remains entitled to future royalties, however stingy. Having control over a copyright can be a powerful bargaining chip, giving self-published authors who prove themselves their choice of publisher if they later decide to go to the traditional route. Now again, this is a very good paragraph. It contains one idea, and those ideas, there are other sub-ideas also, but the main idea is only one. Here we have two ideas. One idea is about naysayers who say that self-publishing is bad and they should go for the traditional publishing. And another idea is the writers should self-publish because self-publishing is really good. So we have two sub-ideas inside one idea. Correct? Let us go on reading the essay. Publishing houses have the resources necessary to launch an effective marketing campaign for a newly published author. However, many authors lament the lack of backing they get from their publishers once their books goes to the print, or maybe even disagree with a particular public relations angle for moral or strategic reasons. When self-publishing, the writer is one who maintains control. The writer selects the venues, content, target demographic, and decides what strategies will be most effective for reaching the readers he wants to reach. From blog entries to Twitter feeds, print ads, submissions, book reviewers, writers can find new readers just about anywhere with a little time and some social media savvy. Alright, now let's go on reading. The accessibility of self-publishing tools, advantages in intellectual property rights, and opportunities for unique self-directional promotional campaigns all make self-publishing a more viable option for writers looking to share their work without having to wait for a big publishing contract. Any writer who is tired of rejected query letters, returned manuscript, and unfavorable publishing contracts should explore this rapidly growing venue. Writers are uniquely positioned to take control of their professional lives and their industry by developing a supportive readership before getting drawn into a less than desirable book deal. Self-publishing is truly the way of the future for any writer with a little time, a little talent, and a lot of ambition. Alright, this is the final idea, final way of concluding the essay. Final conclusion. Self-publishing is truly the way of the future for any writer with little time, little talent, and a lot of ambition. Alright, this is the main idea. With that, we have come to the end of today's class. Now I'm going to give you some homework as usual. Your homework is to write an essay on the importance of English language in not more than 250 words. Alright, for that, what you need to do is you need to follow the 3 stages of writing. They are pre-writing, after that while writing, and finally post-writing. Follow these 3 stages of writing and pick up a thesis statement and write a very good essay. That's your homework. With that, we have come to the end of today's class. If you have any questions or suggestions regarding this video series, feel free to write us at learning@deerwalk.edu.np. Thank you.